Hello everybody and welcome to the show. It's Andy Shed Live and this is series 17, episode number 8. Hello. As you can tell, I'm not in my normal place today. I am indeed at the radio studio, the studios of the soon to be launched PVR, hopefully soon to be launched PVR. I've been here for a little while today. This is going to be a short show tonight, so I've not been very well over the last couple of days. I've been feeling a bit. I had a sort of head cold thing, and it's still there. I still feel all achy in my jaw and things like this, and all a bit weird. So just bear with me as we go through today. Stuff. We're just having a look who's with us. Oh, Christopher's with us. Christopher has made it into the chat. Hi, Christopher. Good to see you there. I'll just give it a few minutes just for other people to appear. We are on half an hour earlier than we said we were going to be on today. So we are here a bit soon. But basically, I thought let's get started and get finished. I can go home and go to bed because I do feel groggy today. Yeah, groggy is the word for it. That is the word of the day, groggy. Not feeling great today. Thanks to Royal Mail this week, who managed to deliver 13 telephones to me and break 6 of them in the post. So thanks to Royal Mail for that. Royal fail. Rather, if you're having anything delivered to you, whatever it be, my experiences recently are that Royal Fail is the worst delivery option you can have, and it's also one of the most expensive. So if you're having anything delivered to you at all, get in touch with the person who's selling you the thing and say, please deliver it using something other than Royal Fail. Because I think the last 2 parcels that I've had off Royal Fail have been broken. People used to say every are bad. Every, which used to be Hermes, of course. People always used to say that they're bad. But actually, these days, I don't think every are anywhere near as bad as Royal Fail. Not anywhere near as bad. So don't have your stuff delivered by Royal Fail. Is what we're saying today. Right, so let's see if we can turn the audio up a bit. The audio is a bit quiet. Right, is that better? Is it gone up a bit more now? Yeah, because I'm using the built-in speakers in the computer, and they're not massively great. Oh, hang on, there's a microphone alteration. I found a thing to alter my microphones. Right, hang on. That's better. That's more like it, isn't it? There, I found a thing to alter my microphone settings. So I do get a bit more. I should get a bit more sort of up there now with the microphone, hopefully. If I just do that, yeah. Right, that's better. Can you hear me now? Cool. So yeah. That is that. Right. Oh, Neville's with us. Hi, Neville. Good to see you. Good to see you with us. You've joined us just as I've got louder. just as people can now suddenly hear me. Yeah. Oh dear. I look shocking as well, don't I? I don't know what it is. It kind of started on Friday and sort of aching my teeth and in my sinuses and into my nose, and oh dear. And I still got a bit. It's nowhere near as bad as it was, but it's kind of moving round. it's gone in like it's in my bottom jaw. Oh, that feels achy now. So, and of course that's the bit you move when you're talking as well. So that's not helping. So it'll be maybe a little bit. It'll be a little bit of a shorter show tonight. Because, like I say, just want to get it done with, basically. I'll just wait and see if anybody else appears. What's everybody been up to this week? It's been a fairly steady week here, fairly quiet week. I have been getting things set up. For those that weren't around last week, CNET is back up and running again, so that for all those of you who have got a telephone off my CNET exchange, you should be able to plug your ATA in and it should be working again. I've already spoken to Christopher over it, and it seems to be working clear as a bell between the UK and Australia. And also, I've been setting up another server. I've been setting up an FTP server as well this week for the radio station here, because the FTP server is when people pre-record shows remotely for us. What the FTP server will do, that sits on the windowsill at home, is the FTP server is a place where people who pre-record a remote show for us here at PVR will then be able to upload that show to the FTP server. I can then check it over for loudness and whatnot, and then just before it goes to broadcast, the systems here in the studio can grab it off the FTP server and insert it into the schedules. So just in the process of getting that set up at the moment. I've just set the server side of it up this morning, and I've got to actually program the desk here to grab the shows and inserts that people are going to be doing for us, because we're going to be having traffic and travel inserts, we're going to be having a What's On Guide insert and a community news insert, all of which are about 2 minutes long. Oh, and possibly a weather insert as well, that we're hoping to get people to record for us at home each day, do these little 1 or 2 minute inserts, then send them to the FTP server, and then the station here grabs them from the FTP server. So if anybody out there wants to help out by recording any of these inserts, please do let us know. Andy at callpress.net is the thing to do it on. Sorry by the way, the chat is not appearing on the side of the screen tonight. It's because I'm in a different place and using a different computer and different cameras and things. You may see that I'm in the old-fashioned format. I'm in 4:3 today, not 16:9, because on this computer actually it's higher resolution to be in 4:3 than it is to be in 16:9, because 16:9 just zooms in on the middle bit. It just sort of crops the top and bottom off and zooms in on the middle bit, so it's actually higher definition to be in 4:3 than 16:9. Go figure. Christopher says, Andy, do you see photos of the Melbourne weather? No, I haven't, Christopher. I haven't seen them, but I've not checked my email for 2 or 3 days and that, because like I say, I've been so under the weather, I've just been trying to sleep through it. Yeah, Christopher says he was using his yellow Ericsson N1900 phone to talk to us on CNET. Yeah, and it came through loud and clear, and I was on the trim phone at this end. Christopher said he said you sound quiet. And then I realised I was on a trim phone. So when you're talking into a trim phone, you're not actually talking into the microphone, because the microphone on a trim phone is up here by your ear, and you talk into a thing like an old-fashioned ear trumpet, like a plastic ear trumpet that goes up inside the handset and to the microphone that's kind of up near your ear. And that's why when you cover the bit you're speaking to on a trim phone, to try and keep it secret from the person on the other end of the phone, it doesn't work. They can still hear because you're not actually covering the microphone. But yes, so yes, done all that and stuff. But next thing will be for CNET to extend to here and put a CNET line in here. I have a CNET compatible telephone in readiness for it, sitting on the desk here. I don't know if you can see this. Can I pull it into shot? No, I can't because there's not enough lead on it. Oh, I can. There you go. CNET ready telephone. Very similar actually, if not the same as ones that they used to use at Town Centre. That so. So there is form for those sort of phones in broadcasting. Don't ask me why it's Concord blue and grey. I've got no idea. That's how it came to me. I'm guessing it's probably actually a Concord blue one that wasn't supplied to the GPO because it didn't have Concord blue ones. I'm guessing it was a privately supplied Concord blue one, and somebody's changed the case and put a grey case on it. That's what I'm guessing it is, but I don't know. I don't know for certain. Right, it's very quiet tonight. I think people haven't realised, have they? People haven't realised. They thought, oh, it'll be on at 7, and they've not realised that I was coming on half an hour early. Christoph says, I put an electric mic in my N1900. Yeah, you can do. They do cause problems though in certain things. Those modern electronic microphones. In certain things they do cause. I can't remember exactly what it was now, but somebody had a problem with one that they put into something, and I researched it for them, and it turned out that the actual proper BT fix was to put an old carbon granule microphone back in. That was actually what BT said was the fix for the problem. It was some kind of feedback issue or something, I think. Some sort of interference, if I remember right. But I can't remember the ins and outs of it because it's quite a while ago. But there was certainly a problem where somebody put an electronic microphone in and then I had to take it out again because it wasn't as clear actually as a carbon granule one. I tend to leave the carbon granule ones in. I do sometimes stir the carbon granules up a bit that's in them, because when they start to go wrong, it's because the carbon granules have been damp and they kind of clump together. So if you dry them out and stir them up, they're generally all right again. Crikey, it's hard work talking, when you've got a bit of a sore throat or a bit of, well, it's not really a sore throat, it's something weird, but when you've got a bit of something wrong with you, it's hard work talking. It is. I'm just waiting for people to sort of catch on that we're here. Perhaps they won't. Perhaps it'll be a quiet day today. A lot of people are away on holiday, and that lots of people on holiday at the moment, of course, here in the UK, because summer is approaching. The school summer holidays will be happening soon, and a lot of people go away on holiday before the school summer holidays start, because it's a lot cheaper to have your holidays before the school summer holidays start. So anyway, Who has seen the news this week? In the news this week, the big thing in the news this week, of course, has been this plane crash in India. This Boeing, was it a Dreamliner, that crashed very soon after takeoff. Got to about 600 or something feet in the air, but never quite generated enough lift. It seems that everything went a bit wrong with it, this aeroplane. First thing that was wrong was it looks like the flaps were retracted too early, and second thing that's wrong is we now think, we don't know for certain, but we now think it had a dual engine failure. So that's not good really, but yeah, this is why I don't fly. This is a really good example of why I don't fly. People say flying is the safest form of transport. Well, it depends which way you look at it. If you look at the number of crashes and how many people walk away from the crashes, a lot more people walk away from road crashes, road accidents, than walk away from aeroplane accidents. Neville says, I read an article about that Air India plane that said the electronics were broken on a previous flight 2 hours earlier before the crash. Yeah, I've seen a bit of video taken of that, and nothing was working inside the plane. The lights weren't working right, and all kinds of things were not right inside it, and that's before it took off. But you just never know. You just never know. It's like I say, if you're going along in your car and your car breaks down, you basically coast to a halt. If you're going along in a boat and the boat breaks down, you drift. If you're going along in an aeroplane and the aeroplane breaks down, you die. It's as simple as that. Although one guy miraculously walked away from this crash, didn't he? I'd like to know more about him and his story and what happened. He literally walked away from it. He didn't lose consciousness or anything. He just, when it all came to a halt, he sort of got up, opened the door, climbed out and walked away. It's just amazing, that is. Absolutely gobsmacking. But yeah, it lost power because they reckon now there was a thing that they call the rat, which is actually a little propeller. And the rat it's a propeller hidden behind a panel in the fuselage of the aeroplane. And what the rat does is, if they have an engine failure or a hydraulics failure, this rat thing pops out, a little thing opens, a bit like the undercarriage doors open. A little panel opens in the fuselage of the airplane. This rat pops out, and what it is, it's a little two-bladed propeller. And as the plane is going through the air, it spins this propeller, windmill style, and can charge up the hydraulic systems of the plane, or can charge up the electrical system of the plane if it's had electrical failure. And they now reckon this rat was deployed because you can see it on some of the video, and also as the plane passes on some of the video you can hear it, because it sounds like a propeller driven aircraft, because there is this propeller going around being driven by the wind going past it, and it sounds like a Spitfire or something like that. You know, it goes past and goes, it doesn't sound like a jet at all. So they reckon this rat was deployed, and that basically only deploys if they've had an electrical failure, or if they've had a hydraulics failure, or if they've had an engine failure. So the rat's deployed, and that's making them say, oh well, it was an engine failure. I don't think it was an engine failure, because I think the flaps have got something to do with it, because they'd retracted the flaps, and the flaps need to be out to fly at low speed, i.e. on takeoff and on landing. You need your flaps out, and the flaps are clearly not out in the video. So there is one school of thought that says the co-pilot, when he was supposed to have retracted the landing gear, he retracted the flaps instead by accident. Now if you're going to pull a wrong lever, that's a hell of a wrong lever to pull. Surely there must be some kind of lockout or something to stop you doing that. Surely if they're two levers that are similar and side by side, that's a really poor piece of design. But it'll all come out eventually. But I don't know what air crash investigation is like in India. But, I don't have any faith in transport in India. You just have to look at the state of the trains. You know, you see a train in India, and it's always filthy. It's always absolutely filthy. And you think, well, if they can't bother to clean it, I'm sure they're not servicing it. And if the state of the train is anything to go by, what the state of the aircraft must be like. So yeah, and it is India's own airline, isn't it? Air India. It's not like it's a plane that's come from like the UK or America or somewhere. You know, it's one that belongs to Air India. So yeah, lots of things are don't seem right about it. Let's say lots of things don't seem right about it. Neville says that guy who survived and the plane was in seat 11A. His brother died though. Yeah, well, everybody else died, didn't they? Everybody else on the plane died, and quite a few on the ground, I suspect, as well, because it sort of went into a built-up area, didn't it? But I would say, if you are going to fly on one of those aeroplanes, seat 11A is the one you should probably book. Yeah. But yeah, that's just amazing that he survived. There was a similar guy on the World Trade Center when the World Trade Center collapsed. There was a guy that they found in the rubble. There was a little bit of the World Trade Center that was still left standing when all the rubble had gone. There was like one wall, a bit of a wall still left standing. They found a bloke laid on the top of that alive. You do wonder how they do it sometimes. You really do. So yeah, I don't rightly know. It's interesting, but like I say, I don't do flying. As Groucho Marx, I think it was, once said, if God had meant us to fly, he'd have given us tickets. Yeah. So yeah, I don't do flying. There was a boxer once. Many years ago, there was a boxer who was going across the Atlantic on a liner. I think he was going from the UK to New York. He was a famous boxer. He was kind of like the Muhammad Ali of his day, sort of. in, I think it was the 30s or 40s. And these newfangled aeroplanes just started flying from a field in West London called Heathrow. This when Heathrow Airport was tents in a field, sort of thing. But these aeroplanes had just started flying across the Atlantic, and this mega famous boxer was on this liner, and the press entourage were with him, like the press entourage follows famous people around now. And one guy from the press said to this boxer, said, "So with all your money and that, and all your fame, why are you taking like a week to cross the Atlantic on this old boat when you could now fly across in the modern world in a few hours?" And the boxer said, "Well, you see, it's like this. If this boat sinks, I can swim a few strokes," he says, "but if an aeroplane crashes," he says, "I can't fly a bloody inch." True words were never spoken. I'm just catching up with the chat. Christopher says some of the V-line trains here are like the trains in India. They never do any maintenance. They're always breaking down. I was on one V-line train and the seat I was on and no screws holding the cushions in. Sounds about right. Sounds about right. Sounds like the new upgraded trams in Blackpool. They're a bit like that. I can remember travelling on one. I don't know if it was the first day in service. It was certainly the first week that they were in service after the upgrade had taken place, and I was sat on this tram in Blackpool, brand new sort of £1 million worth of tram, and I'm sat there and I'm watching screws unscrew themselves out the floor with the vibration. If ever you've seen Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where the woman and the little boy are in the house, and the ship sort of lands outside the house and the aliens come and they're trying to get in, and she goes and closes the curtains and puts the shutters shut and all this sort of thing, and then there's a close-up shot of a heating grid in the floor and the screws unscrewing themselves and popping out of the heating grid. That's exactly like what's happening on this brand new Flexity tram in Blackpool. that hadn't been in service a week, and it was due to the vibrations, the vibration of the thing, and it was shaking these screws out, making them unscrew, fall out, and that. But luckily, they have things called travel cards in Blackpool, 7-day travel card, where they used to issue a ticket on an Almex machine or something, and then put it in a wallet that had like a sticky front to it, so like a cardboard piece. And then a sticky clear cover that went over it, because you had to use that ticket for 7 days. And these sticky wallet things were very useful for sticking bits of tram together that were falling apart. So some clever conductor had got a load of these travel card wallet things and took the sticky bit off and stuck them all over this tram to sort of hold this bit in. Christopher says it's not the first time we've had the no screws in the seat problem, it's actually the third time. Are the seats and those supposed to have screws in, Christopher? Because some of the buses here, the seat cushions don't actually have screws in them. They just sort of slot in and and sit there. The seat backs have screws in, but the cushions actually just slot into place. They've got like a rubber or sometimes wooden blocks, and they sort of drop into the seat frame, and then they can't move anywhere because of these blocks underneath them on the buses here. So they're not actually meant to be screwed in, which is why school kids take them out and throw them through the emergency exit, little sods. Yeah. All sorts is happening. All sorts is happening. Yeah, I think public transport in general is just not what it used to be, is it? It's really not what it used to be. Whatever it is now, public transport, they siphon so much money off that when it actually comes to the vehicles you're travelling on, it's always bargain basement, cheapest crap possible. And they buy a new train or something, or a new bus, and go, oh yeah, this is a nice new, and it looks all fancy and that, but actually it's made out of crap plastic in China, and it falls to bits in a few days. Oh, Dominic's with us. Evening, Dominic. Says, I'm just going to pop my pizza in the oven. What flavour is it today, Dominic? I could just eat a pizza, actually. Yeah, not had my tea yet. I'm doing this a bit early, you see, and I'm here at Plesley Vale. Not near food. Yeah, pop your pizza in the oven. We've already covered rubbish couriers and crashing aeroplanes so far. I don't know what the next topic's going to be today. No, but yeah. Pepperoni. Oh, good choice, Dominic. Good choice. He's having pepperoni pizza for his tea. Yeah, that sounds like a plan to me. Yeah. Great idea. Just be here. I wish I was near an oven, let alone a pizza. But I'm not, as you can see. I'm in the studio here at Plesley Vale, and I can't show you because I can't move the camera, because the camera is built into the computer screen that I'm using. So I can't really show you much tonight. Bills is with us. Evening, Bills. As is Jason. Hi, Jason. A large whiskey will help your ailments, Andy, says Jason. Yeah, perhaps. You know something, I'm not sure if I've ever had whiskey. I can't remember ever having whiskey. I drink brandy. Brandy's alright. Rum. Oh, somebody gave me a little bottle of rum once. You know those little bottles that you get in hotel rooms? Somebody gave me a bottle of rum, and I was in a caravan at the time. It's when I was working away in my bus driving days, and I was staying in this caravan, and somebody had given me this little bottle of rum. I don't know where the hell they got it from. They gave me this little bottle of rum. And I got it in my bag, and I got back to this caravan one night, and I thought, I'll drink that rum. I thought to myself, I'll try that rum while I'm sat here watching my little portable telly. So I put it in a glass and drunk it. Oh, it was foul. It was absolutely foul. Yeah, I discovered I really don't like rum. And I should have known, because I don't like rum and raisin ice cream either. So there you go. But yeah, the rum was foul. But I don't know about whiskey. I don't think I've ever known. I must have had one. I must have had a glass of whiskey at some point in my life, surely, but I can't remember it. Brandy is the thing. If I was going to have a spirit by choice, I'd have brandy. Dominic says Glenmorangie is lovely. Yeah, so they say. Yeah. But then again, I also know people who say broad beans are lovely, and I don't like them either. Dominic says I got a special bottle when I was up that way, but I think I prefer the standard 10 on balance. Oh, I don't know. Did you get a haggis while you were in Scotland? Getting a haggis is quite hard. Bill says you're very loud, Andy. Ah, well, I was very quiet earlier, Bills. This is the thing. Hang on a minute. Let me see. Right, let me see if that... Yeah, you see, this is the thing about audio levels. You never quite know what to set them to. Because a lot of YouTubers have their audio way too low. And then you come and get onto this stream and mine's set right, so it blows your head off. But a lot of them don't adjust their audio levels. There are two things about people on YouTube that really annoy me. One is people who don't adjust their audio levels, and so you can't hear what they're saying. And two is people who do vertical video. You know, people hold the phone like this instead of turning it around like this. Yeah, they go ding and take a video instead of going, oh, I'm actually taking a video now, perhaps I should make it the way round that video normally is. But no, I'm forever going, turn your phone round. I'm forever telling people, turn your goddamn phone round. And they turn it through 90 degrees and go, oh, it's all turned round. Yeah, of course it has. Dominic says haggis is great too. It's like black pudding but better. Yeah, I like black pudding. I like haggis as well. It's very hard to get a haggis. I went almost as far north in Scotland as you can go, Aberdeen, and basically went in a pub in Aberdeen and we thought, being in Scotland, I'll have haggis. Went in this pub on Aberdeen. What was on the specials board in the pub in Aberdeen? Roast beef and Yorkshire pudding. No haggis to be seen anywhere. Yeah, and you just couldn't. I didn't find any in my entire visit to Scotland, which was about, well, it was 2 days actually. We went on Friday. We came back very late on Saturday night after a bloody Carlisle concert. Never saw a haggis. Never saw one. Never saw one. Jason King says you need your what out? Not sure. Sometimes the chat doesn't make sense and I'm wondering if it comes out in the wrong order at my end. I'm having one of those moments. Neville says they always have haggis in Wetherspoons in Glasgow. Think this may have been a Wetherspoons. It was one of these big pubs that does food, and it was in Aberdeen, right next door to the Travelodge in Aberdeen, which is actually Travelodge number 1. If ever you wonder about Travelodge numbers, if you want to go to 001, Travelodge 001, it's in Aberdeen. Of course, we stayed there. Jason says, is that the Wetherspoons in Argyle Street? Is that the one in Glasgow we're talking about now? I don't know. Bill says, Andy, you were ill last time on the stream. Was I? Was I ill last week? I'm in all the time. Just worn out, Bills. Tired. Absolutely shattered all the time. I am absolutely shattered all the time. The problem is that I have to do everything myself, and I'm just worn out all the time. Just can't do it. More and more I think about it, the harder and harder it is getting to live in the modern world. Yeah, there's just so much stuff to do all the time. I don't have any free time. I've not had a holiday for 35 years because I just can't afford the time. Yeah. And if you're waiting for an episode of Escape the Shed, you'll know how little time I have because I haven't been on for ages. Dominic says, did you get your hospital appointment, Andy? No, the NHS have decided that they don't fix hernias. The NHS. Yeah. When you go online and you type in hernia into Google, it says you're supposed to have an operation and they fix it before it gets worse. The NHS say, no, we just leave it, and if it gets bad, then get in touch with us. That's the sort of last minute useless firefighting measure that the NHS does, and this is why I have no faith in the NHS whatsoever. If I had it my way, the NHS will be abolished. Get rid of them. Let's all pay for us healthcare. We'd end up paying less because our tax could come down by billions a year. Let's do it the way they do it in America and get the service they get in America, because their service when they have a problem in America, when they have a health issue, is absolutely second to none. It's brilliant. So yeah, but our crap NHS are absolutely useless. Neville said, I had to repair the NHS in December 2023, going for a pre-op tomorrow for another one. Yeah, well, you've obviously got a different bit of the NHS to me then, Neville, because they said they weren't going to do anything for me. Dominic says they were useless when I had a lump on my head. Ended up going private, and they told me it could become a tumour if I waited the year waiting list, I was told. Bill says, I think the NHS is brilliant. Sorry, Andy, I think we should keep it. Yeah, but why, Bill? Why? Lots of people think the NHS is brilliant, and undoubtedly some of the people who work in the NHS, some of the nurses and things, are brilliant. That's. But thing is, the system doesn't work. It's just a system of operation that doesn't work. Neville says, I've heard that it isn't a good service in America and British NHS is better. Well, I can only tell you from experience as Neville. And I have a friend called April, lives in America. Hi April, if you're watching this. She's in Alabama. one of the southern states in America, and she has problems with her back and her shoulder, and the basic problem is that a sort of bone in her shoulder keeps growing, and there's like a growth on the bone, like a spiky bit on the bone that grows, that shouldn't be there, and when that grows it gives her a lot of pain in her back and in her shoulder. And she didn't know about this, she didn't know what it was, only found out what it is since, but she had all this pain. She went to the doctors, I think, on a Thursday. Wondering what was wrong with her. No, I think she went to the doctors on. I think she went to the doctor on a Tuesday, wondering what was wrong with her. I think she went on a Tuesday. They did tests on her on a Thursday. The middle of the following week, she was in hospital having an operation to have this thing taken off, and by the following weekend, less than a fortnight after she'd first gone to the doctor, she was back home. So that's the American system for you. And yes, she has to pay for that. Yes, you do have to pay for your health care. But the point is, you have health insurance, much like we have car insurance in the UK. And they pay a lot less tax than we do, because their tax money is not funding the NHS, because they don't have an NHS. So there's less stuff they have to pay tax for, basically. I always say about the NHS and tax, if you go and buy your shopping at Sainsbury's, you don't give 100 quid a week to Tesco's, do you? Which is what you effectively do in the UK. You effectively give 100 quid a week to Tesco's or the NHS, or however much money it is a week. You're just giving that money away whether you're ill or not. And then when you are ill and you really need help, like Dominic, they put you on a waiting list so long that you actually go and get your shopping from Sainsbury's anyway. So no faith. Bill says my brother in Germany pays health insurance for the year. Neville says, thing is, only Britain has the NHS. If it was such a good idea, other countries would have it, surely. Yeah, exactly, Neville. Exactly. And remember, we've only had it since, what, 1940s, was it, when it started? Well, I think you should just pay health insurance, right? You pay car insurance. If you were paying an insurance company every year for your health insurance, you will get much better health care, because next year you'd go, you know something, you gave me a crap service last year, I'm going with somebody else. And so the companies that insure you would make sure that the doctors and nurses were on the ball. So yeah, I think we need a different way of doing it. The NHS doesn't work. There aren't enough people paying into it that are using it for a start. But the people who are paying into it are not using it. So it's always playing catch up sort of thing. What, have you tried ringing for an ambulance lately? Try ringing for an ambulance. Just try it. Try dialing 999 and getting an ambulance. You can wait hours for an ambulance. You can wait absolutely hours. I know people who've waited 7-8 hours for an ambulance. It's then taken them to A&E, dumped them in A&E, and then they've waited hours and hours in A&E to see a doctor. Yeah, well, that just does not happen in America. It just does not happen. Neville says a lot of immigrants get used to the NHS for free. They come over here for free healthcare. Well, they do, but this is why immigrants are a bit stupid, because if they had done some research before they'd come here, they'd realise that the healthcare ain't that great. All the things that they come over here for aren't that good. A friend of mine knew somebody who worked for Transmange Link, which is the company that sort of built and operated the Channel Tunnel when it first started. And I was in Kent visiting my friend one day, and they said, let's go to where the tunnel portal is, because the place where the trains go into the tunnel is nowhere near where the actual terminal is, where you get on the train. So we went to this place where the actual portal is, and there's a road across the top, and you can drive up this road, and you can stop, and you can see the trains going in and out of the actual tunnel mouth. And we drove up this road, and there were these people walking out of the tunnel with suitcases and shopping trolleys and things. You know like when you see a disaster movie, and they've had to evacuate a city, and all the roads are gridlocked, and all these people walking with all the worldly belongings in shopping trolleys and wheelbarrows, and they grabbed everything they can carry, sort of thing. Well, there were people like that, a stream of them coming out of the Channel Tunnel. And I said to my friend, what's happening down there? I said, there's a load of people walking out the tunnel. I said, a train must be in trouble in the tunnel. And she says, oh no, she says, that's not people off the train. That's the immigrants walking through from France. I said, what? She said, yeah, that's the illegal immigrants walking through the tunnel from France. And there's this constant stream of people. It weren't one person every now and again running out the tunnel and going and hiding behind the edge. It was just a stream of people casually walking out the tunnel, one after the other. And I said, well, how do they do that? So there's trains going through there. And she said, oh no, when the immigrants go in the tunnel, they stop the trains. I thought, oh god, oh, what has the world come to? But yeah, they're just casually walking out this tunnel portal. I'm probably not allowed to say this on YouTube, but I think what they ought to have done was got a Gatling gun where we were stood, and it would have stopped the immigrant problem once and for all. I once went to one of these wartime events, you know, where they have these reenactors that get dressed up and they have all the old vehicles and that there. And they got a Spitfire, and what it turned out it was, this Spitfire, I think it was one from the film Battle of Britain. And what they'd done is basically they'd made some fiberglass Spitfires for that movie, made them out of fiberglass sectionals. You could take them apart, put them where you wanted them, and then bolt them back together, and then you've got a Spitfire. And these reenactors have got one as part of their display. They set it up on this field, in the middle of this field, and somebody had put a little sign in front of it that said "Immigration Control 1941 style," much to my amusement. Can't say things like that now though. Sadiq Khan will get you. Khan! Why has nobody done that?
Whenever you talk about Sadiq Khan, why has nobody got that little bit out of Star Trek 2 where Captain Kirk goes, Khan! Somebody should do it. Somebody should definitely do it. Yes. Bill says, yeah, we bring people over to study and become doctors because there are not enough British people wanting to do it. Well, why do British people not want to do it? Because we've bred a generation of lazy, useless morons, that's why. Now, why have we bred a generation of lazy, useless morons? Because their parents are lazy, useless morons. Because their parents, in the sort of 70s and 80s, thought, shall I go to work? No, I'll have a kid instead. Think Wade and Waynetta Slob off Harry Enfield, and you're not far wrong. Chris was complaining about the V-Line trains. In his part of the world, down there in Australia. Not very good, apparently. Dominic says, how's the studio going, Andy? Have you got any of the U-matic tapes playing? I have had one of the U-matic machines working. The only problem is, Dominic, I've shuffled them now, and so I don't know which one it is that works. But you can't see it because I can't move the camera easily. But behind me is a bank of videotape machines that would make Kenny Everett jealous. You can remember when he used to do his television show and he got that big bank of monitors behind him? Well, I've got a similar bank of U-matic VT machines here. There are 6 in that bank. There's 3 down there. Oh, them 3 aren't U-matic. Them 3 are Digibeta, I think. There's a couple more U-matics up there somewhere in that stack of stuff up there behind me. So yeah, we did get one going. We did get one playing. The problem is the tapes getting hard to get as well. But the tapes aren't very long. Because they fly through a U-matic machine. The longest cassette you get with U-matic is an hour, and it's huge. And you put it in the machine, it goes, vroom, and it's gone. So, Bill says that is shocking about the tunnel, Andy. Yeah, it surprised me, Bills. Yeah, it did. It absolutely surprised me. I was gobsmacked. I could not believe what I was saying. My comment at the time was, let me drive a Eurostar, I bet I can stop him. Bill says, so what do you do, Andy? I don't think I actually know. I do a lot of things. What do you mean as a job, Bills? As a job, what do I do as a job? I run a dog walking company called Andy Walks. AndyWalks.com if you want to look it up. Yeah, I run a dog walking company. Whereby we go and we walk your dog when you're at work, things like that, or we look after your other pets when you go on holiday. You know, we go and feed your tropical fish and your tortoise and things like that. So that's what I actually do as an income. But in the past, I've done all sorts of things. I had a store on a market for a while. Before that, I was a bus driver. and stuff. Years and years ago, when I just left school, I worked in a hotel. God, that was grim. Yeah. Bill says, "Bless you, Andy." Did I sneeze? I'm sure this is coming out mixed up today. I'm sure this chat is coming out mixed up at my end today. Because one thing doesn't follow on from another thing. But yeah, we're a dog walking company, and we are trying to get this radio station up and running, which is where I am sitting now. Because hopefully, if we can get this up and running, hopefully this will also generate an income from the ads that it will play. But it doesn't generate much of an income. Anybody who's thinking about starting a radio station, my advice is don't. Because the business model for a commercial station, a local commercial station in the UK, is, well, it's a failed business model. When you actually, if you were to start a commercial radio station in the UK, a local commercial station, and you did a business plan, your business plan would be wrong. Somebody's ringing me. Just bear with me 1 second. Just a tick. I'll be back in a minute. Hang on, what do I do here? Right, I'm back. I've reappeared. Right, that was... Talking of the dog walks, that was one of the dog walking clients. One of the dogs is poorly, so he's not going to be having his walks for a few weeks. Jack the German Shepherd. He's got arthritis, lad has, and he's done something to his leg, and he's been to vets today, and he's got to be on cage rest, basically, for the next 6 weeks, apparently. So he's not going to be having any walks for the next 6 weeks. So get well soon, Jack the German Shepherd. A bit of a shame, really. One of my favourites, Jack, Big Jack. No. Right, I'm just going to catch up with what you've all been saying in the chat while I was away. Sorry about that, but that were Jack's owner on the phone, and she was a bit upset because obviously when a family member is ill and that, you do get upset, don't you? And they are a family member. Chris and Andy, have you got the live chat set to live chat and not top chat? I have indeed, Christopher. Dominic says, I spy my old Sony reel-to-reel tape recorder there. You do indeed, Dominic. It's behind. Yeah, there it is. Look, there. Yes, it's there. You may have noticed it's turned around though, Dominic. In the case, it was stood up. It was a vertical mode when you gave it to us, and it's now in horizontal mode, which is more suits where it is in the horizontal mode. Jason says, going back to what we were saying about health service, he says I have family in America and the health service there is awful. Germany and Holland are the best. I lived in both these countries and their health service is second to none. Perhaps it depends who you go with for your insurance, Jason, a bit like who you go with your car insurance in the UK. Perhaps some insurers are better than others. Bill says, I had a look at the website, Andy. I like the website, looks good. He says, I'm looking for a cat sitter currently because I've got a cruise booked. Yeah, we do that, Bills. Think you might be a bit out of area though. Where are you? Think you might be a bit out of area for us, but we certainly do that. We certainly do go in. We don't actually sit with them 24/7 because that will make it prohibitively expensive. But what we do with cats is we go in for like 15-20 minutes 3 or 4 times a day to feed them and give them a bit of fuss and that, because cats in general aren't too fussed about whether there's anybody there or not. Cats do their own thing, don't they? Dogs like the company. Cats tend to be not quite as bothered in most cases. There are exceptions to that though. Christopher says he's been out filming goods trains. And he also says, I see a lot of telephones in the background. Do you? Where? Oh yeah, they're the ones that have come today. They're the ones that have arrived today. There were 13 in the box, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 7 of them have arrived damaged. Of the 13 that were in the box, and they weren't damaged when they were put in. One of them might have been damaged, but it was packed. One of them might have had damage on it already, but it's got more now. So basically, if you discount that one, of the 14, 6 have arrived broken in transit, thanks to Royal Fail. And they are the broken ones that you can see there. That's the big pile of broken telephones that I've, just before the live stream started, that I fished out of the box. Right, Anyway, I think that is probably about as far as we're going to go for today, because I need to get home before my car turns back into a pumpkin. So I think we're going to call it a day for today. We will be back next week around about 7 p.m. next week, and that will be the last one for a couple of weeks next week, because after that we've got a couple of weeks where we're going to be out and about on Sunday afternoons and Sunday evenings. So next week will be the last one for a couple of weeks, and then we'll be back again in the middle of July. So make sure you're around next week. Remember, hit that like thing if you've not done it already, and the subscribe thing, and that bell icon is crucial, so that you know when we are actually coming on air again. But that is about it from me for now. Have a fantastic week ahead. Dominic says, thanks all, I might be able to tune in from Stranraer. You never know, Dominic, you might be able to. Get us a haggis while you're up there. Right, from me for now, have a fantastic week ahead. And Christopher says he's riding a steam train next weekend. There you go. Not all trains in Australia are all rubbish then. There are still some good ones out there. Until next time, we'll see you soon. Bye for now.